anything. So the other guys have to do something, and maybe Boogie will give him something, but we gotta let Boogie play into this, to get his rhythm back. So I don't. They're going to need Boogie, I think, to win this series, especially if KD. I have a feeling KD's not going to come back. I don't know why. I know they're saying maybe game 3. He's already been ruled out for game 2. Steve Kerr said he's not practicing, and he was walking still with a noticeable limp. So he's not ready. And even with all this time being between the games, I don't think KD, unless the series goes to 6 or 7, I don't know if KD's actually going to come back. But yeah, Boogie's gonna. They're going to have to accelerate Boogie's, his minutes, and I just hope he doesn't get injured again because he looked out of shape. Of course, he's been out. So, but it was good to see him out there playing in the finals, and now it's all about giving him quality minutes.
Yeah. Let me give 2 shout-outs. H-Rap B in the building, the Grand Verbalizer in the building, also ABM, which will be coming on the show later on. Mochi says Golden State never had that big run and Toronto never had the typical scoring drought they usually have. Great point. I'm not going to say every single, but a lot of playoff games, there was a lot of situations where Warriors would play soft, they would play bad throughout a large portion of the game, and then you come into the third, fourth quarter, and they will flip that switch. Well, the fact of the matter is, they did not flip that switch. They didn't do it this game.
Right.
I was waiting on it. And I'm sure a lot of people listening and that was watching the game was waiting on them to flip that switch. And it was almost like they just never did it. So and I think also the Warriors have this mentality, it's almost like they need to be punched in the mouth for them to actually consider Toronto a threat. I truly think that that's part of it, and I think what that may have been necessary for them to get further up for this game. But again, this is the NBA. They're professionals. You can't use it as an excuse. I'm not using that as an excuse, but mentally for this team, I think that could be something that we could factor in. Pau Gasol played like an all-star. He played like hitting threes, and they were testing him too. That's the big part about this. They were testing them to shoot threes. They were testing Pau Gasol. He had a lake in front of him. He basically had a wide open. He could have drove a Mack truck through that wide open spot that he had.
And you mean Marc Gasol? Marc Gasol. You mean Marc Gasol?
Marc Gasol.
Yeah. The other Gasol.
And he drained him. He played 30 minutes. Was 2 for 4 from the 3. Had 20 points, 7 rebounds. And no disrespect to Pau, but this is Marc Gasol we're talking about. Pau Gasol is probably going to retire. But give me your thoughts on Marc Gasol and his play. With him giving you 20, Kawhi 23, Pascal 32, and Van Fleet 15 off the bench. But give me your thoughts on Gasol.
Yeah, this is what they got Marc Gasol for. They got him for this moment. They got a bigger body to play center who can hit shots. And this is part of his game that has improved a lot from his Memphis days. You saw the progression when he was in Memphis that he was getting more away from the basket. And now that he can actually hit three-pointers and open jump shots, it just comes full circle for him because before he was one of those big bruising body players who played in the post, played mostly in the low post when it was him and Zach Randolph in Memphis. Those guys played bully ball a lot. So, but he played more outside than Zach Randolph did. And sometimes they switched up. Now, he's got a jump shot now. So with him, they were just leaving him wide open. And Steve Kerr he was getting upset. You can't leave this guy open. I mean, I get it. You rather have him take shots instead of Kawhi Leonard, or even Kyle Lowry himself. You'd rather have Marc Gasol take those type of shots. But he proved that you're gonna give me these open looks. I'm just gonna drain them. Then I'm just gonna pull up and hit them. And he was doing that. Serge Ibaka was playing major minutes and was contributing. Van Vliet. I mean, when Van Vliet came in the game, it just seemed like the defense just flipped. They started locking up. Van Vliet was actually giving Curry, a little bit of issues, with his defense. And like I said, Siakam, he just had a career game yesterday. I mean, this guy was hitting shots left and right. And Gasol, those guys, Danny Green. I mean, he found his shot from the Milwaukee series. I mean, when he was hitting shots, I just thought, like, man, this is gonna be a long night for Golden State. Danny Green, he can hit shots, and we've seen him hit shots, but this guy was on the bench against Milwaukee last series. They wouldn't even play him, and it was just a matter of time. He started hitting shots. So yeah, Toronto's their role players really stepped up and took it to the Warriors. And like I said, the Warriors they played with no rhythm. They played with really basically no heart. It just seemed like they were playing through the motions yesterday. Turnovers. They stopped their fast breaks. Toronto was just out there running their fast break points. I mean, Toronto did everything. That game plan, Nick Nurse, which I had a question about going into this series. I thought the coaching with Golden State and Steve Kerr was going to outcoach Nick Nurse. I know it was only one game, but Nick Nurse and Toronto had a great game plan. The defense was just all over the place. And this is without a big game from Kawhi Leonard only hitting 5 shots. So that's a scary thing. Kawhi Leonard only hit 5 shots, and they win by 10 points. Let's see if they can keep it going. That's going to be the interesting thing for Game 2.
Yeah, and they're going to have to duplicate this. That was ABM, I believe, that said that they're going to have to duplicate this 3 other times. But I was taking notes throughout the game. Both teams had good ball movement. Transition points, Golden State was not doing a good job at that, was doing a horrible job at that. Before the half, Kawhi and Draymond get 3 fouls. And I made a note of that because I'm thinking, let's see how they respond to that. And is that going to be an issue for them throughout the game? And it honestly, it really, for Draymond, it was, because I believe he ended up getting 5 fouls before the game was over with. Kawhi, not really. But Raptors up by 10 at the half. I'm watching the game with my wife, and I'm telling her, this is how Golden State plays. They'll come in the 3rd and 4th and start to turn it up, which they did at moments and times. Toronto, the lead was down to 6 at one point in time, but Toronto this was their night. There's some nights where it's just your night. They were clicking on all cylinders. Siakam, who had one of the best games of his life, he was dedicating this game to his dad that was killed in a car accident.
Right.
The kids from Cameroon. I mean, it's a great story. He played 40 minutes. It was 2 for 3 from the 3, 14 for 17. It was an awesome game. Let me read this comment. Just Joe, and shout out to Melvin in the chat room. Thank you for tuning in. Also, let me read this. Mochi says, you give up 52 to Siakam and Gasol, and you're probably going to take an L. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Raptors beat up Warriors, just touched, in quotes, every chance they got. And it was physical. It was definitely physical. I'm okay with that. I want to see, this is the finals. This is not a regular season game. I want to see it as physical as possible, in my opinion, because I think that gives you a real game. And we're not doing these flopping fouls, which Steph was doing some flopping, and he was getting some fouls, definitely towards the end of that game. But huge shout out to Toronto. That's in a nutshell. Toronto did every single thing that they needed to do. The third quarter, I want to talk about the third quarter. Leonard and Siakam at 24 in the third quarter. They were lighting it up. Danny Green came back from the dead. Shout out to Tar Heel Nation. But that third quarter was crazy. And we got Courtney Harden on the show of The Real Deal with Courtney Harden podcast. But give me your thoughts on that third quarter with Kawhi and Pascal doing their thing. 24 points combined.
Yeah, that was a huge difference. I thought when Golden State, as we all know, that's their run. That's their quarter that they go on their Warrior run, as they call it, and it was coming. You can see they was getting a rhythm. They're like, okay, the time off. Like I said, I don't use that as an excuse either because we've seen them have time off before, play well in game one. This is the first time they've lost a game one in the finals too. So, and you saw that every time they kept getting on a run, Siakam or Kawhi kept hitting shots, or somebody else would hit a shot in that third quarter. So they stopped the bleeding. Like they dropped it down to 6, as you said. They dropped it down to 4 at one point, and I was like, okay, the Warriors might get this lead, but the Raptors they wouldn't let up. They wouldn't let that lineup. They wouldn't let that lead. They wouldn't get rid of the lead. So they play lights out. I mean, Siakam was just running up and down the floor. He was hitting shots everywhere. So like I said, he had a career night in the finals, one of his best nights he's had in his career. And he's a good player. You can tell how good he can be, especially when he's hitting threes. He's taking it to Draymond. Whoever was guarding him, they were switching. They had Curry on him a few times on a switch or Clay. And it just seemed like he's so much bigger and longer than any of Golden State's guys. He's taller than Draymond. Iguodala can't guard him. Clay can't guard him. That's where Durant could come in at 6'11" himself and maybe guard him. But I mean, he was running up and down the floor. They was just throwing outlet passes to him. He's getting layups. He's getting dunks. And then Kawhi will hit a shot here, get to the free throw line. And you talk about the physicality. I love it too because Golden State don't like the physical play at all.
Right.
Guys like Curry, he don't like physical play. He don't like to be held. He don't like to be checked like that. But you have to do that to him because he's free flowing, getting open looks. It's a long night for the other team. But Curry got his, but he don't like that physical play. Clay doesn't like that physical play. I think that's where someone like Cousins has to come in and be a physical body. I think we didn't see Bogut at all. I thought maybe bringing in a Bogut for just some physical, strength or something, but Kerr didn't go to him. He had Jordan Bell start for athleticism. I get it, but Jordan Bell's not a physical player. He's more a finesse player himself. Iguodala wasn't playing physical at all. So I think it took its toll. I think when Draymond got that charge against Lowry, it took him right out of his game, and he started barking at the refs again, and it took him right out. I thought that was a key play in the game where he ran right over Kyle Lowry. Lowry took that charge, and Draymond was upset, and he said he had 5 fouls, so he was out of his game. And when Draymond's out of his game, that sucks the life right out of the Warriors because he's their emotional leader. He can play physical himself, but I will see what game 2, what adjustment Steve Kerr brings because they're going to need it because if they go down 0-2, it could be possibly over for the Warriors.
Yeah. Going down 2-0 against this team would not be a good thing. Just Joe says first time Golden State started on the road in the finals. That's a great point too. Toronto, man, the monkey off of their back. That's a gorilla. That's a 500-pound gorilla that they got off of their back with this, with them making it to the finals. But you could just see it in their eyes that that's not enough. You could see it in Kawhi's eyes. You can see it now. Kyle Lowry was super excited. I get it. Kyle Lowry's been with the Raptors for so long, and they've been dragged on for so long that obviously he's going to feel some type of way. Kawhi's been there before. If DeRozan was still on his team, he probably is feeling some type of way right now because he's watching it from the couch. But I think they're not done. This is not enough for them. They're not at a point to where they're satisfied with where they are right now. And I think that's what makes this series so interesting. That's what's going to make this a great series, I believe. I think this is, just the beginning, obviously game 1. But I think we're going to see more tough play. You see Draymond getting interviewed afterwards, putting the blame on himself. He let Siakam get going, but I think it was more than that. I think Siakam was just ready to play, and he was going at Golden State at every single angle. They didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. They didn't know how to guard him. They didn't know how to defend him. They didn't know how to figure out how to stop him So that's going to be definitely key for them